What I'm going to show you in this video is the historical reporting system. All information collected by the EnergyTracker system goes into the SQL database, and we've created a reporting system that can look at the information that's stored in here from an aggregated view, or you can drill right down into the individual values that are stored. There are a couple of ways to launch it. From any machine that has the EnergyTracker client installed, you can click on the options and select View Reports. And that can be done from any machine that has the EnergyTracker client installed. But you can also, if you've got the EnergyTracker system installed on the computer you're working on, if you go down to the EnergyTracker program group, click on Reports, and you can view the reports just by clicking on that. The first time that you run the reports, and this only happens once, or if you update the EnergyTracker system with a new version of the reports, it may come up and ask you to install. So just click on Install and it'll download the application that hosts the web reporting. And so what you see by default is the dashboard. And the dashboard gives you a view of what's going on right at this point in time. Well, energy information gets imported into the database as quickly as 5 seconds, but it can be as long as 30 seconds. So the data that you're seeing is relatively current and as near to real time as we can make it. And so the dashboard, what this is showing you, the three dials here, are the kilowatt hour targets, or kilowatt hour versus the target. So it's a measure of performance as to how much energy you're consuming versus the target that has been set. And if you recall, that target was actually set per site. And so we calculate the percentage of performance based on this. And what we have is today's current value. So far today we've consumed 37 kilowatt hours. And as far as our target goes, we're sitting at around 58% of our target. So that's good. Then we look at, we've got our monthly target and also our yearly target as well. So these values increment as time passes and energy information is imported into the system. You can see down here the circuits that are associated with this site is showing you the average demand, the max demand, current values, when it was last read, and when the max demand was read. And this can be exported to Excel. So if you had 100 circuits associated to this site, you might want to actually do some additional processing of that. And that's easy. You just click on Export to Excel. It'll come up and say, yep, it's done it. And then it'll open Excel for you, and you can then work with the figures from there. Now, every site that you define in EnergyTracker, and if you were going through the administration console configuration in a few videos ago, what you'll get is, at the moment we're just looking at the simulated office, but if you had, say, your head office at a factory site, or level 1, level 2, level 3 of a building, these sites all appear as individual tree items, and so the information is associated with that site. And we've got a range of different reports that are pre-compiled. So we've got standard ones at the top, including the energy dashboard, which is our default one as mentioned. And then we can go down and look at the individual energy reports, and we've broken them up basically into a day, a week, a month, a year view. And then you can drill right down into the raw data, which is looking at a specific 15-minute interval and the energy information logged in that 15-minute interval. And then on top of that, we can drill down in what we call the metrics. And the energy metrics are power, voltage, amperage, real power, those sorts of, that sort of information. What I'll do is I'll go through and show you some of the reports and the types of things you can do with the reports. So let's take a look for a start at, say, consumption versus production. And I'll just see if I can expand that out a bit so you can see that a bit better. So consumption versus production by 24 hours. And so that displays us over the 24-hour period. I'll just blow that up. It's actually showing us energy consumption, which is the green line, versus the production, which is the blue line. And if we pass our mouse over it, you can see that it shows us exactly what that value is. Now with these charts, if we bring our mouse down to the bottom, you can see two buttons appear, previous and next. And what we can do, this is just a quick way to step back a period of time. So if we're looking at 24 hours and we click previous, it'll go back to the previous 24 hours. If we're looking at 7 days, it would go back to the previous 7 days. So we can do that and click on what was happening yesterday. There's some information there. Go back forward again and brings us back to today. With every chart, you'll notice there's a little tab up here on chart options that slides out. Now depending on the type of chart that you select, these chart options will change. If you had multiple locations, for example, they would appear in this drop down box. If you wanted to expand out from not just 24 hours but say 2 days or 3 days views, you can just change the start and end date. So we could choose, okay, let's look at yesterday and today all in one view, and that actually appears for us. And you can see up the top here, this little menu bar is fading in and out as we pass our mouse over it, and this gives us a range of functions that can be applied to all charts. So if we click on copy, that'll actually copy the chart view to the clipboard so that you can paste that into things like Word or Excel or other file formats. You can just simply click print and that'll come up and ask us to print it, so you can print that out directly. We can even do things, which this is a really good one, is you click on data and it'll actually show you all the data points plotted within that chart. And we can do things like, if you look at the data value, there's a little sum icon there. If you click on that, you can see we can tick things like show us the average, count, maximum, minimum. We don't need to sum it up. Click on that and it's telling us the average for the chart is 1.55. There's 54 data points plotted. There's a maximum minimum value. And if we want, we can click on export to Excel, and again we can export that to Excel and do some more number crunching with that. And finally, we can actually edit what goes into the chart. So this is where you can change how the chart looks, maximum, minimum, y-axis. We can change the series that are displayed in the chart. We can create new charts, which I won't go through in this video. We'll go through that another time. And you can make all these modifications, click save, and it will save all those default options to that chart. And what we'll do is we'll go to another chart now that gives us a little bit more information. So what we might do is look at the raw data. This is a good one to look at. And so what this is showing us is two electrical circuits from our Auditor 3 simulator, and this is energy consumption. And these are the raw data values that have been recorded over a 15-minute interval. If we go to our chart options, you'll see that there's now additional entries in here, such as this one, this drop-down box for electricity consumption. And because we do have a solar production circuit being monitored, we can change that. And here's our solar information coming in. So all we've done is change the energy group from electricity consumption to solar production. And if you're doing hydro or wind, that would actually appear in here as well, but because there's no data associated with those energy groups, those groups don't appear. If we look at another one, say just plain view by 24 hours. So this is our energy consumption in kilowatt hours over a 24-hour period. And if we expand out, you can see we've got even more options. So for example, on Group On, we could say show us by register, which is an electrical circuit, that's what that means. And if we click on that, you can see for electricity consumption, what it's done is it's split out the two electrical circuits and shown us the kilowatt hour consumption of those two circuits. So if you were monitoring a 3-phase, this would be really cool, because then you could actually see exactly how much energy is used by each phase. And we can also do things like, instead of showing it as kilowatt hour, we could show it as cost or as greenhouse gases as well. So we'll close that one. Show that. Then we can go down to things like, let's have a look at the energy metrics. Well, we can look at metrics and click on view by 24 hours. And if we go to our chart options, what you'll see is it's showing us the energy. So that's a raw value, but it's calculated kilowatt hours. But what we can do is drop down and we can see, well, let's see voltage. Click on OK to that, and it's showing us voltage across the 3 circuits. We can then go in and look at amperage, and that shows us the amps for those 3 circuits associated with that site. And we can look at something like power factor, which is a very important metric. And we've got some negative values in there, which can be normal. And that's how we build our charts and show our charts and drill down into our charts. And it's really a matter of just selecting which top level one you want to view and then going in and choosing your chart options. So what we'll do in the next video is actually go into the administration side of the charts, and I'll show you some of the more advanced features that we can do with it.